Hi guys, I'm Hannah, and I've kind of had like this idea of wanting to start using my YouTube channel a little bit to talk about stuff that's on my mind and kind of share it with the world. So a little bit about me. I am a therapist, I am a wife, and I am a mother-to-be. We are expecting our first baby this year, and I'm really excited about that. And also, with all the change that's happening in my life and all the things that are going on in the world right now, I want to talk about things that are important to me. And so, kind of my idea is to talk about just kind of a bunch of different topics that come to my mind. And it's going to be kind of just like random and sporadic because that's what I feel like doing. I don't really feel like, making this really organized or anything right now. So I want to talk about mental health. I want to talk about issues with politics and feminism and religion. And so I also am an artist / a yogi. So I'll probably just talk about like everything under the sun. But right now, kind of what's been on my mind lately is topics in religion, politics, women's rights. And so just to kind of like define who I am and like what I'm planning to talk about. Right now, I have been an atheist for about 6 years, and I grew up with a Southern Baptist pastor as a father. So yeah, I changed direction real hard when I got to my adult years. And so I kind of want to talk about why that is and kind of what my story is and what I take issue with my experience in church, especially as a woman, and things that I don't agree with, and also kind of like the psychology behind that, as well as I want to talk about like mental health topics for people who are coming out of religion or recovering from religion. That's been weighing on my mind lately as something that I could talk about that could potentially help people, because it's something that I've been battling for myself for a long time. And so for those of you who are not familiar with like coming out of a pretty fundamentalist religion, or if you are a religious person that doesn't really get why this is so hard, if you think about it, when a person decides they don't agree with the things that are being taught in the church, just to kind of simplify it, you don't agree with what's being taught, you don't like some of the sexism, misogyny, bigotry, tribal mentality, racism, those themes that kind of come out of that religion, you experience a lot of emotional turmoil, or at least I did. Maybe not everyone does, but I did, because my whole life up until then was about this religion, and my whole family was devoted to this religion, and all the people that I knew were in this religion. And so when you come to terms with the fact that you don't agree with this stuff anymore and you find it offensive, some people would choose to walk away, and that's what I did. But it comes at a great cost to some people not everyone, but some people mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, familially, economically. There's so many different aspects that can be impacted in someone's life. And so I want to talk about kind of like how to allow yourself to go through that if that's what you're dealing with, and how to come out of that process, which is often a very long, hard journey for a lot of people. How to come out of that process healthy and whole, and kind of find yourself in a new way and find a new kind of path, a new kind of identity, which is something that I've been working on for all of these years, and it's really not easy. And so I feel like, talking about some of this stuff will help my process, help me kind of make sense of things and like put things in logical sequence, and also hopefully help other people who hopefully see my videos. So I'm planning to, I'm filming this on an iPad at my art desk in my bedroom. I'm not planning to make this real fancy or real, high quality or anything like that. I just want to share kind of my story and my thoughts and kind of build on that for a little while. I just feel like that's what I want to do. And I'll also share some of my favorite podcasts and YouTube channels and books and other resources that can help people kind of make sense of what's going on internally and connect with kind of like the world outside, so that you don't feel so alone. So off the top of my head, a couple of my favorite just kind of like resources, like social media groups and stuff, organizations, are the following. Number one, the Atheist Experience. The pros with them are they're very logical, and they can teach a lot about critical thinking. The cons are that they can be kind of harsh and a little bit judgmental in the way that they talk to, especially theist people or people who believe in a religion, just depending on kind of like the arguments that they hear. Number two, so that was the Atheist Experience. Number two is Talk Heathen, which kind of is like a spin off of the Atheist Experience, and those people are in the same community, the same organization as the Atheist Experience. Number three is Seth Andrews, The Thinking Atheist. He's a recovering talk radio host who used to work for Christian radio, and now he's an atheist. So he's really interesting to listen to. He's very compassionate, and he loves to share people's stories about like them coming out of religion, or like the process of going through like the self-doubt. He also touches a lot on like the family stuff that people often go through when they leave their religion. So definitely recommend The Thinking Atheist. Some that I'm not as familiar with are the Freedom from Religion Foundation. They have a podcast called Recovering from Religion. I just got into that one pretty recently, and it's really cool because it is led by two gay ex-ministers, and so it's really neat to hear kind of like what their experiences were. So I'm just getting into them. That's Recovering from Religion podcast. What else? there is the friendly atheist. There is the humanist society, I believe it's called. I'm not super familiar with that, so it might be called something different, but it's about like what is humanism, which is a secular philosophy or worldview that, the way I would explain it, the way that I think about my humanism is people are essentially good, and we can work together to make life better here in this life, because this life is the one that matters. Some books that I would recommend reading. Number one is Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion. He talks about a lot of the kind of scientific and like evolutionary arguments that a lot of creationists don't understand properly, and so he kind of like goes into depth on the science and biology of all that. Other books, Seth Andrews wrote a book, and I can't remember what it's called. Slipped my mind, but definitely recommend anything written by him. I think it's called Sacred Cows or something like that. Number 3, a book I'm just now purchasing and like waiting for it to come in is called Leaving the Fold, and I think it's by somebody named Valerie something. I can't remember her last name. I think it might be like Valerie Terrico. I might have the author wrong, might have her mixed up with someone else. So I'm going to read Leaving the Fold. And I just discovered a book called Pure, which is about the psychological damage that purity culture in fundamentalist religion can do to young girls and teenage girls on, virginity and sexuality and your worth as a woman. So it talks about like coming out of that worldview or mentality. Other things. So there is a Recovering from Religion website that has a chat function where you can chat with somebody about whatever you're going through. And I believe that that's free. And I think that they also have a therapist, like a secular therapist project that helps people who are recovering from religion find a therapist who's not going to bring up religion or spirituality or try to force you towards embracing religion or spirituality as like a normal part of life. They use, as they say, evidence-based therapy practices. And so I've been interested to learn more about that because I am a therapist and I try to come from a secular lens in my practice. So that's a broad glossary overview of a bunch of things that I like to listen to, resources that I use personally or plan to use soon. Oh, one last book. I'm about to get into Joseph Campbell's The Power of Myth, which is a book that I believe studies like cross-cultural religions and kind of discusses, I haven't read it yet, so I'm thinking it'll discuss kind of like how society uses religion to essentially deal with, societal problems and whatever else. I'm looking forward to learning more about it. So there's a whole lot to read on these topics, and so I'm definitely going to come to you guys more about this stuff as I read and learn and grow in all of this. and I'm excited to share with you guys my story and where I've been and where I'm going and things I'm learning. So, hi, bye. Nice to meet you guys. I don't know how to end this video. All right, peace.